Hey guys, this is the guide to something I wanted to do for a long time already, which are held items. I'm gonna go over what are the best items, what are the best free-to-play items, what are the best items to level 30, and then we also go over which items are obviously not worth using, and also gonna show some builds for certain characters that you can, in case you have more level 20 items, that you can switch around depending on your playstyle and what you want to do. So let's start with the best item in the game, which is Body Barrier. Straight up, best item, good on every single character, gives you a big shield to yourself after using a unit move, and also to one of the lowest HP ally. One of the most game deciding ultimate or like items. Skates insanely went to the late game. Decides Dreadnought fights, decides Zapdos fights. Can be used on every single character. You should for sure get this item if you have not yet. This should be your first level 20 item. Next up, we have Focus Band, one of the best defensive items in the game. It has a effect of where you can see, and the Pokemon drops to low HP, and then each second for 3 seconds it recovers 40% of the HP it has lost. This has a 90-second cooldown, which you sadly can't see in game, but in general it can be used on every single character as well if you really want to. I don't like it much on squishies, but best free-to-play, second best free-to-play item, usable every single character. Skates as well as Body Barrier into late game. It's percentage based, which means it will be good on every stage in the game, and it will not fall off. It also gives you some special defense as well, which is not really that important, but you get some defense, some special defense for early game. It's not bad either. Obviously, that doesn't scale to the late game, but the effect is very, very strong. And then we come to the third best item. In my opinion, Score Shield. Especially these are the best three free-to-play items. There will be one more, but these are the top 3 that you should be focusing on. Score Shield, in case you don't know, gives a while you dunk or while you try to score a goal, you get a 10% shield, and you can't be interrupting by scoring. And this also stacks with other shields, which means if your character has a shield, or you had Body Barrier or a Dreadnought shield, or from your ultimate, they have to kill the entire shield to stop you from scoring. This can be very game deciding. It also stops jump pads from stunning you, which is very important. So in case you go for like a try to goal in the second goal, you don't get knocked up by the enemies jumping onto their own goal. Straight up usable on every single character as well. Again, one of my probably it's a very toxic item in general. Sometimes very, very unfun to play against. Also gives you some base HP. Not really like noteworthy, but still fine. And then we come to the fourth best item in the game, which is Muscle Band. Muscle Band gives you baseline attack, which is nice for early game. Gives you baseline attack speed. It's the only item that gives you attack speed, which is also another thing that just scales into the late game. Like one thing all these items have in common, they are good early game, mid game, and late game because they have percentage-based value, which means they always scale. It also has a nice effect. When basic attacks hit, the damage is increased by 3% of the opposing Pokemon remaining HP. So again, also has an effect that scales, has attack speed that scales. The attack speed is very nice as well. Every Pokemon after using their unit move gets attack speed right, which means this even gets more value after using your ultimate as well. Very straightforward. These are the 4 best items in the game, straight up, period. These can be used on almost every character. Of course, Muscle Band is like more for damage dealers, or basic attackers. But for those, it's by far the best item. And otherwise, these 3 items, Body and Focus Band and Score Shield, you can literally run on every single Pokemon. Not a single Pokemon is bad with those, and these are the best free-to-play options. Those should be your first level 20 items. If you prefer to play more damagey characters, then you can go for Muscle Band over Score Shield, but in general, these are very, very good investments. And these are the best items, and now we come to the good items. In case you have those on level 20, you can start maybe building up more variety in your into your item, into your items. We have Scope Lens. Scope Lens just straight up gives crit rate and crit damage. That's all it does. But it's just a good item. 5% crit can be game, or it's 4% crit on level 20, minus level 25. It goes up to level 30, where it's 6% crit. And yeah, crit can win games. It's very good on basic auto attackers, especially on characters like Cinderace, Greninja, that have a lot of attack speed, especially late game with the unit moves as well, and have easy attacks. Very, very solid on those. Next up we have Energy Amplifier. Honestly, in my opinion, one of the most underrated items in the game. What it does, it increases your unit move damage by 21% on level 20, and also for the next 2 seconds, you do additional 21% damage. So yeah, I mainly use it for the unit to do more damage. It's very good on characters like Machamp, Cramorant, Charizard that just do crazy damage with their ultimate. This makes it just straight up better. It also has a nice effect of where your unit has a move charge rate, or like it just charge ups faster. So it's also very good for characters like Mr. Mime and Zero Aura, which have very, very low cooldown, and Charizard, which have very low cooldown ultimates. Makes them just come up even faster. In my opinion, one of an item that's worth investing in. I personally lose it on like 6 characters, as an example. Next up, we have Ice Glasses. In case you like special attackers, this is the best special attack item and also the only good one you have. It gives you 7% special attack with some baseline special attack, which is not really it's good for early game, but obviously fights off quite hard. But just give you straight up 7% special attack. The higher level is, the more special attack you have. That means scales very good into late game as well. Used on characters like Gengar, Gardevoir, Mr. Mime, just Venusaur. Venusaur is not that good with it, but I still use it on it, just doing my poke damage. So very good on Cramorant as well, very good on special attackers that rely on burst damage. Next up, we have... Is there another good item? I think we run out of good items. Yeah, these are just these are the items you should be investing in. These for the start, and then these 3 are like flexible items in case you enjoy dealing more damage. But there's another one, XP share. But actually, I'm gonna put XP share into here for now, because it relies on... I would not recommend playing it in solo queue. What XP share does is, while the Pokemon has the fewest XP points on its team, it gains 4 more XP points per second. In addition, when a nearby teammate defeats a white Pokemon, the teammate gains slightly more experience points. This is very good for coordinated play, or when you lane with a premate and you're like Eldegoss and a carry on a lane and you just want to give your carry all the XP, then XP share is very good. So if you enjoy playing supports or tanks and you queue up with a DPS player or something like a Lucario that just you want to funnel experience into, XP share is a great item. Besides that, I would still not recommend it necessarily that much, but for that, it's a very solid item. Next we have... What else is a good average item? Assault Vest. Assault Vest is a bit of a questionable item. I think it's very good. Like, it has potential. The problem with Assault Vest is you don't know who you play against. And if your enemy just ends up just having special attackers, this item is useless. So what it does is, when the Pokemon is not in combat, it is granted a shield that nullifies special attack damage equal to, let's see, on level 20, 15% of its maximum health HP. Also, it's a good item just because it scales into late game, right? Again, percentage-based items are the best, because they scale from early to late game. Pretty much always the same. But yeah, again, you don't know if you play against a special attack or not, especially in laning phase. If you could see what your opponent's team comp was, this would be a good item. But you can still use it if you feel like it's a decent choice for a defensive item. But yeah, again, if you could see that you play against special attackers, especially, then it would be a very, very strong item. Then we have... I think that's already it. And then now come the terrible items. I'm just going to put the scoring items already out. These are scoring items. It's when you score a goal. Here's an example. If you score a goal, your special attack is increased by 8. In theory, like, it works on also scoring 1 point. In theory, it's a good items, but they cap out at 6. At 6 scores, you are maxed out on these items, and they just don't really scale much into late game. They could be used for snowballing, but yeah, there's just better late game items, and late game matters more than early mid game currently with how the game is going. So would not recommend going the scoring items. I tried using the cookie sometimes. It gives you HP per dunking. But again, all these options on the top are just much, much better options to go for. And that's pretty much it. Next we have Floatstone. I also got baited in the start of the game to get Floatstone up. Here, my level 20 Floatstone. It is a terrible item. 16 attack damage is not noticeable. I thought it was a good item because of base move speed, but every Pokemon has such high move speed that 80 does literally nothing. And its main effect is you get a move speed increase by 20% when the Pokemon is not in combat, and this thing has a 8 seconds. It's between 6 or 8 seconds. Wait, so that's how long it takes for this to appear, or this to start happening, which is just awful. You always pretty much attack something right. Yeah, no. Just a terrible item. Don't get baited into it anymore, please. And start using other items. Next we have Shelby. Another item that looks very good on paper. It looks very, very strong on paper. There's cooldown reduction, special attack, and a heal. When the Pokemon hits with a move, it recovers a minimum of 75 HP. The higher the Pokemon special attack, the more HP it recovers. I thought this was a crazy good item as well at the start, until I realized it has a 10-second internal cooldown, which makes it absolutely horrible. Teamfights are so fast late game, you might proc it once with a very low heal. Focus Band is just a billion times better if you want to have some healing. The special attack, early game, the 16 special attack doesn't matter either. It literally negates itself, I don't know, after the first 3 minutes. Having 60 more special attack literally does not do anything. Cooldown reduction is nice, but if you want cooldown reduction, just pick Energy Amplifier, straight up better item. And yeah, 10-second cooldown on a small heal, it's not worth going at all. Would not recommend you guys going it. Next up is Rocky Helm. That's another item that has an eternal cooldown, which is just not known. It sounds like a good item. But when the Pokemon receives a certain amount of damage, damage is dealt to the nearby opposite Pokemon if 5% of those Pokemon's max HP. This also has a long internal cooldown like Shelby, which just makes it an awful item. Can't recommend, don't go this item. And there's better defensive options. And in theory, if it would proc more often, I think it's also 10 seconds where the cooldown is, and you don't even know how long the cooldown is of it, top of it. Just don't. Not a good item, very much better options there. And then last we have Leftovers. I'm gonna make this a bit bigger. There you go, Leftovers. I could never touch this item. Yeah, it's the beginner item, right? Not good. When the Pokemon's not in combat, it recovers 2% of its max HP. You're pretty much, I feel like, always in combat. And a bit of HP and HP recovery that you get from the stats don't really matter at all either. So, yeah, so these are the best items up here. Must have, best free-to-play items. These are good choice, second options. These are, depending on your playstyle or depending on opponents, can be good. And these are all items you should not level up until, I don't know if they will ever buff or nerf items. Then it might change, right? And yeah. So free-to-play priority, Body Barrier, Focus Band, Score Shield. If you enjoy auto attackers more, Muscle Band over Score Shield. And then if you enjoy playing special attackers, Wise Glasses, Energy Amplifier, very good on those. If you enjoy basic attackers that can crit on the auto attacks or that attack a lot, Scope Lens. So what happens when you have these items on level 20 and you're like, oh, I have tickets over? There are 2 level 30, or I guess 3 level 30 items you can in theory go for. The best level 30 item in the game, I would say, is Scope Lens. It just straight up gives you 2% more crit and 4% more crit damage. Just raw stats. It doesn't even have a 10 or level 20 effect. It's just straight up stats to level 30. Second best item, Muscle Band. It gives you 7.5 attack speed on level 30. And attack speed, again, scales into late game. Used on a lot of characters, so can recommend. And then maybe, I guess, Body Barrier. But even then, I would not get those items to level 30. It's 200 more HP you get early game. It can make a difference though, right? It can be one more auto attack that you don't take damage. I mean, it's pretty much one auto attack of a certain character, because that's how much damage people do. So you kind of survive one more auto attack, which can make a difference. And since you use Body Barrier in every single character, it's a level 30 item you can go for. Since it's a good investment, can be used on anything. And yeah, let's go over some builds. Let's just go over some builds as well while we at it. So these are things you can do. Venusaur's currently my most played character. Body Barrier very needed for squishies as well, especially squishies. It's a very great defensive item. If someone dives you can just use your ultimate as well, or unite move late game, gain a big shield for yourself, and just be able to survive huge burst. Energy Amplifier is great on characters that have a lot of damage on their ultimate, and it also makes my next Solar Beam do more damage. So my ultimate does more damage, my Solar Beam does more damage. I can sometimes team wipe people with this item, just straight up doing 20% more damage on my ultimate and Solar Beam. And then Wise Glasses, Venusaur is a special attacker. Venusaur scalings are kind of bad, so it's not that much of a damage increase, but I could also just, like, these are example the flex options. I could go Muscle Band for better early game. Venusaur is a special attack item, a special attack character, but you still auto attack a lot early game. This will make your early mid game stronger in auto attacks and when you want trades. You can go Focus Band just in case you get Dove. Also fine, or if you think, yeah, you just want some more defensive options, Focus Band is fine. I personally don't like Focus Band much on squishies, but I have the luxury of having multiple items on level 20, so I can choose my own things. And I generally try to have good positioning, so I don't really, it doesn't proc that often on me. And also, on squishies, it's just like, sometimes you just get bursted so hard, right? This game has a lot of fucking damage that Focus Band doesn't even proc on characters that are squishy. So yeah, Wise Glasses is probably also not a good option, but I just use it. It's good poke late game. If you hit 2-3 people with your Solar Beam, it still does good damage and stacks up over time. So, yep. And then you have characters like, let's say Lighthead. Lighthead's also a special attack character. This is another one where Muscle Band, she's a special attacker, but she auto attacks so much that the passive is still good and the attack speed is still good. Since you play Aura Veil, you just basically take a crazy amount. Attack speed is very good for it. And again, the effect also works. Body Barrier must have on her. It's not just must have on every single character. There are a few characters I don't use Body Barrier on, which I will maybe go to. But yeah, good on every character. And Energy Amplifier as well. You don't have to go with this item. It's just one of my favorite items in the game. You can easily swap this out for Focus Band, and it's probably better. But I just enjoy doing a lot of ultimate damage, blinking into or eject butting into my opponents, hitting a big ultimate into a Gleam for a lot of damage. But I would not recommend this item necessarily on her. I just enjoy seeing things explode. And then what else could we show? Like, this is a normal tank setup. Oh god, this is from testing Flays Nordex. Never mind. This is not a classic tank setup. This is a classic tank setup. Focus Band, Score Sheet, and Body Barrier. Pretty much can run this on every single tank in the game. On every single support in the game. Makes you tanky. Has the winning potential of Score Shield, Body Barrier. Even though Snorlax gets a big shield himself, still giving one of your allies a big shield just makes a huge difference in teamfights. It's just, I mean, late game teammates are just shields. And then we have examples like Greninja, where I just think, I just want to deal damage. I still go Body Barrier on this character just because if I don't have it, I die in teamfights. I ultimate in, I get a shield, I live, and then just Muscle Band, Scope Lens for huge damage. You can also swap one of these items out for Focus Band again. Now one of those characters where if you feel like you just want to be a bit more safe, you go Focus Band. Otherwise, you go Muscle Band or Scope Lens. One of these two is replaceable with Focus Band. Always Body Barrier, though. And so other good examples. Mr. Mime is also a good example for a character that I don't have Body Barrier on, but you can still run it on him. I absolutely love Focus Band on him. He has one of the highest HPs in the game. You can pretty much play frontline with him. Energy Amplifier, his ultimate actually does quite good AoE damage. And he has very low cooldown, which means this makes it even up faster. Like, I often get 4, 5, 6 ultimates out per game. And it actually does very underestimated damage that you don't even notice that much. And it also still makes your next Confusion deal more damage, so huge burst potential. And then Wise Glasses could also be anything else, but honestly, his scalings are pretty good with special attack, and it just increases his damage by a lot. So I can sometimes team wipe people with ultimate and these two items. So these are just very aggressive options, but you don't have to. You can also go Body Barrier over this, or Body Barrier over this. Score Shield. Score Shield is more an item still. Like if you have the luxury of choosing multiple different items or having level 20 items, you don't have to go Score Shield on ranged characters. I'm not a big fan of it on ranged, but if you don't have anything else, just go Score Shield. It's a great item. But again, I have just 20 items, so I can choose and make different builds. But you will notice me that I pretty much don't have Score Shield on ranged characters. There's no Score Shield here. No Score Shield here. Score Shield, I'm big fan on melees on. Krasa, Score Shield. I have Lucario, Score Shield. And just all these bruisers that want to go in and can easier score. The problem with characters like Venusaur, if you walk up to score, often you just die. It's just not worth it. But obviously you can still go it. And yeah, some other example builds. What else could we check out? Stuff like Eldegoss as well here. Okay, the cookie, kind of outdated. I tried it sometime, but don't like it. Classic Body Bear, Score Shield, Focus Band. Again, if you pre-made, you can outscore XP share. If you also fancy yourself a bit and be more aggressive, you can also go Muscle Band if you really want to be more aggressive of an Eldegoss. Eldegoss can be pretty aggressive, it's very hard to kill, very tanky. And yeah. If you guys have any other questions about items, feel free to let me know in the comments. I will answer them for sure. And yeah, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And a tier list video is also coming up soon. So thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.